Yeah,
Hopefully,
pretty cool.
yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, so I guess we're back. We're hopefully going to talk about hobby related stuff, mostly focused around Warhammer 40,000 and the like. Um, yeah, how's everybody doing?
Pretty well, I guess. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, can't complain too much. Can't complain too much. Well, I guess maybe we can just get right into the first segment of the podcast where we hobby happenings one where we talk about kind of what we've been working on in the past week. So I guess I'll start first like normal. Most of my efforts have been focused around this Necromunda like gunfighter, this
Mm.
one-handed Necromunda gunfighter. I think even on the last week's stream I had done some work on the model, mainly transplanting the little pistol that I get converted from that one Sister of Battle onto the model itself. Also, I've done a little more work with that, done some green stuff work to kind of fill in any of the gaps for the attachment. And
Mhm.
then most of my efforts have then been focused on doing some additional sculpting on her clothing and other details like that, mainly this like sash she's wearing. I've also started to add some of the holsters and stuff on her person. I still have to make one more, um, but that will hopefully be done pretty soon.
It looks good. It's nice to see more of them starting to be added. And it's cool, like, because I think in last week's stream, you'd spent some time kind of attaching the pistol onto her arm there,
Hmm.
and it's nice to see it, in a more completed form.
Yeah, no, I feel it's going pretty well. Yeah, so I guess in the coming week, I'm just gonna continue doing some of the detail work on the model, touching up some of the stuff I've already sculpted. But I guess I have to add the other holster. I will. I want to add some more detail work to like her belt itself. Like it's kind of mostly there now, but I'm not. I don't feel I'm 100% happy with all of it yet. And then I want to add some detail work to the actual holsters that I currently have attached. As you can sort of see, they're supposed to be either like nylon or like leather holsters, which have like a little flap at the top to keep the pistol itself within the holster.
Mhm.
Um, I think I want to add some form of like additional like either straps or like little snaps or whatever to keep that little holster shut. And I guess at this point, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with that. But I can figure that out. And then I guess the other main thing that I haven't quite decided on is what I'm gonna do with her head. And I guess the main thing there, she kind of has this like weird looking headdress, which from the original model, attached to this headdress, there's like an additional like weird like spiked jaw thing that is obviously not added here, but
Mhm.
so I mean minimally I would cut that off. I guess alternatively, if I wanted to, I could like figure out like something I could do with that and transform it into something else, but I don't know about that. And I guess she currently still has some hair. I don't know, do people have any suggestions with the hair itself?
I might consider just removing the hair. Like, yeah, I feel it's not. Did is she supposed to be part of the church? Yeah, I forget.
Thinking about, did most of our members have hair that were made before?
Most, I don't think did. I don't think it was something that we had written into the lore, like that they all get rid of their hair or something. But
Yeah, I don't think we really touched on any of that.
uh, I feel maybe just getting rid of it would be the easier thing to do
That's probably true.
at this point. And like, I don't think it's adding a whole lot. And as you kind of mentioned, like currently, the the headband thing, circlet or whatever she has, is pretty large. That symbol thing on the front, pretty domineering, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I'll probably just cut it off. And then maybe add some like visible scarring and stuff to her head.
hmm
And I guess it might also kind of being like bald and stuff kind of at least vaguely speaks to like people's notion of like monks and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. It's going fine. I think I should be able to largely finish the model in the next week or two. Well, actually, another question. What are people's thoughts about adding like little parchments and other like purity seal type things to the model? No.
If you put such things, I would say always be reserved in the number of
Yeah.
purity seals.
Yeah, I would be inclined to say maybe not. I don't see her being like the super fanatic sort,
Yeah,
but
because I mean, I guess the thought is this like sect or band of the Church of the Red Athenium, they're trapped deep within the bowels of a hive that's all fucked up. So I feel maybe more of their efforts would be focused towards.
yeah, Hive Secundus after it was like nuked or something of that sort to get rid of some, I think a gene stealer cult infestation.
Yes, I mean, I guess with that in mind, like maybe she should be more.
Not have hair because of the radiation.
That's true too.
Get rid of that
Disheveled and
hair.
stuff. Like, what do people? I guess I can ask another question. What are people's thoughts like on her back, like on her belt? Like, I should probably add other like pouches and other stuff like that to kind of hold
All
equipment.
specs.
Yeah, I'm fucking not adding a stupid specs. Like, if I
Yeah,
used one of the
obviously.
Space Marine specs, it would probably take up her entire like back. She could wear it as a backpack, and it would still probably look too big. As a matter of
That would
fact, I
bad.
bet if I could probably just sculpt like a little pouch or like knapsack or something on her back, and that would also maybe even just sort of simplify some of my work. Like I wouldn't have to resculpt and rework the back of her belt because it would just be
hmm
covered.
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do that. Like I also had half a mind to add like some little pouches and whatnot to hold additional magazines for her pistols. Um Maybe I'll still do that. I guess in her case, it's probably a little hard for her to reload her pistols if she's lacking a hand.
Yeah, be tough.
So she would probably more or less just draw one of her other pistols and then reload after, like, the gunfight. Hey Dave, nice to have you here.
Yeah, hey Dave.
We are just talking about what I'm doing with this little conversion here and potential ideas of where I want to go forward with it. Time I look at what I've sculpted, I see like on our sash and stuff, like you can vaguely see where like I added additional putty and other stuff, and like the seams and stuff aren't like quite perfect, and it like really bothers me. But like I don't, you probably really won't be able to tell that.
Yeah, I feel it looks like they'd be pretty hard to make out.
When I paint it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it's cloth, so.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess I will just add. I think I am just going to sculpt like a little knapsack or of sorts on her back to carry all our other stuff. And I think just sculpting it'll probably be easier than like if I would try to fit on like a plastic pouch or something from another model. That'll probably just end up making it look larger and like further away from the model itself. So I probably don't want that. Yeah, alright, so I've labored over this forever, so that's what I've been working on. Thanks for hearing me out, Greg, Eric.
Yeah, Sharding Squid says that thinks you have the skill to sculpt and cast your own mini at this point. I feel
Yeah.
that's largely.
Yeah, so that's probably something I need to actually do sooner rather than later.
Get that sweet, sweet cash.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. I think
Then
Eric.
you can start a business and get
Yeah,
taxed out the ass for it.
start a business that makes no money,
Yeah.
and then get taxed for it. Perfect.
Yeah, I haven't been doing a huge amount, although a friend recently got a copy of Blood Bowl, like the second season, and now that he's been fully vaccinated and I have, like we just started to meet up maybe every once a week or so. So I started to assemble some of the like the Black Orc team.
Are any of the little goblins missing any fingers?
They are not
That's nice.
not like yours.
That's nice.
Games Workshop hasn't really resolved that.
No, yeah, like I guess Greg had contacted them and they said they were gonna send a replacement for the one of ours that was missing his fingers. Um, we haven't heard or received anything since then, and I think he might. I guess when he comes back, we can ask him, but I think he might have sent Greg.
I sent GW an email about it. They said they are sending out the replacements again.
Oh, cool.
Do you know where this was coming from?
I think this was from as
The
Greg.
UK.
Yeah, so
Okay, so like
it's
it's probably long. We're gonna take a while. Like I ordered some glue, like from this British. I think it's from a British company that I had heard good things about for applying flock and such to bases,
oh
and
yeah.
I ordered it and then never arrived. So then I mentioned it, and they said they would send it again. And I thought it again didn't arrive, but it finally arrived. Like months and months later.
Yeah,
But
so I would consider trying to buy some of that stuff too, and I guess it's probably better I didn't because I.
at least at the moment with COVID and stuff.
Oh wait, Dave's asking if we have any 3D printing desires. It could be something we could look into eventually, but at this point, like, I have enough other stuff that I want to learn and deal with that I don't I don't think that's going to be something we'll look into
I feel
anytime soon.
we'd probably be more inclined, Adam, if like you try to start doing some digital sculpting and if like you did some of that and those things, maybe that would push us into the desire to work with 3D printing. But I feel that's just another thing. Like I don't have space for a 3D printer.
Yeah.
They
Dave,
need a
this
good
is
ventilation system.
yeah, Dave, this is the newer like Black Orc Blood Bowl team.
Yeah, just in the second season of Blood Bowl.
And I think they haven't released the team yet to buy separately, so the only way you could get it is by buying the actual game.
I like the models. I kind of the orcs. I sort of wish I don't really like their helmets that much,
Hmm.
like the tusks and jaws and stuff. I feel that's the worst aspect of them. But since I kind of just want to play the game, and it's not even my copy of the game, I'm just trying to assemble them as quickly as I know how, which isn't that quickly. I'm
um,
still
they look nice.
scraping and sanding all the mold lines and stuff off, so it's still kind of slow.
Does it look like you would need or want to do any like filling in seams and stuff with modeling putty or anything, or how's
I don't
that?
think you'd have to for most. Like maybe there's one or two that has a slight gap or two that you could do, but like
Yeah.
I don't think I would feel inclined to. All the orcs are the mold lines are pretty bad on them.
The ones that I have, the mold lines are awful.
I don't know if I'd go as far as to say awful, but they're not good.
They're
I
pretty
think maybe
bad.
the human ones they look a bit better, but they're still not great. Like Bandai does a lot better job of their plastic molds, like their tolerances for that. I think are
Also,
just better.
and I think when we did the pseudo unboxing for the game, we looked at it. I remember, like I think the orc Farah Gulchu or whatever this orc character, like he looked good. Like the mold lines and stuff were not very pronounced, and like the human team looked good. But then, like I think the ogre was terrible. The troll I don't think was good. So like, who knows? Yeah, these orc ones that I have are they're noticeably bad. Like if you didn't cut them off, like they would be very, very noticeable.
Yeah, looking at the orc character here, he looks better.
Hmm. That's interesting. Like I wonder if like at least initially I thought like maybe like the ogre and maybe the reason that was worse was because it's a much older molds that they're reusing, and so like maybe over time there's some like wear and tear, but like that shouldn't be the case with any of these orcs.
I
Like
need to sometime find because I even have an assembled ogre, like one of the just the gray plastic ones for Blood Bowl, but I don't know what happened to it.
oh yeah, cool.
But yeah,
Um,
so I'm gonna try to finish assembling them, hopefully relatively soon, and also the human team in the hopes that I can actually try to play Blood Bowl.
yeah. No, yeah, they look nice. Well, good work on them.
Hmm.
Okay,
And
so I
I
guess
mean,
that's what.
I guess the other thing that I spent like over the weekend, spent time and finally finished a review of the one Swedish skirmish and like miniature game system called F28.
Hmm.
And we mentioned it a little bit maybe weeks prior that we were kind of working on it, but I finally put together a review, just going over the system and our thoughts about it, and some criticisms and whatnot. But so I'm happy we were able to finally do it, even though we didn't really get the opportunity to play it really much. I was hoping that we'd be able to, but COVID and all that has kind of made that impossible.
It has.
Are you gonna review Gamma Wolves next?
I don't know. No.
Yeah, probably not.
But I don't know. One of the main criticisms we had the book was that kind of a lot of the illustrations and stuff in it and diagrams are not that impressive. They look like they were just quickly sketched,
They sure do.
and uh there are at least a few. There's like a picture of a few of them on the blog there, and yeah, they're not great.
They're
I mean, they're
not.
kind of charming and cute, I think, but it's not great in the context of trying to be a formal publication. And the rest of the settings and for like formatting and stuff is pretty nice looking. And these don't really fit that well, I don't think.
No. I feel the system itself is. I feel it could fit right in, like, a lot of different events and stuff, and
Look at the one image of the helicopter, like, that's a bad image.
do we think that is I guess it has to be a
I
helicopter.
assume. I think it was one of the guys sort of involved in creating it said on the one Facebook group that all those were largely just random sketches and stuff he did in his like their role playing sessions and days in there, which is fine. Like, but I just question. It's almost like they were put in as placeholder like artwork and things, and then they never went back and finished it for like a formal publication.
Yeah.
And even like there's a thing of the phases in a turn.
Hmm.
Like you could so easily just open up like Microsoft PowerPoint or a thing like that and make some arrows and things that would look not great necessarily, but
But a
Well,
little professional.
there are some of the figures in it like do look better. Like there's one of like a skull and crossbones, like caution sign or whatever. You remember
yeah, I mean
that?
some of the artwork is kind of neat and atmospheric, but
Yeah, no, it's weird. Like I feel some of the stuff it almost would have been better if they just didn't include it.
and in the review I mentioned that it seems to me like this would be great for a Kickstarter
Yeah.
that they could offer most of the rules for free in like a PDF or something to get people excited about playing it and doing it,
Hmm.
and then use some of the funds to make like a nicer, higher like production value of the book, like a nice printing of it as well.
Yeah.
Hire some people to do additional artwork and that sort of thing. They wouldn't have to put most of the development into really the game itself since they've already developed it and have been
Yeah.
testing it for a while. So,
Yeah. No,
but I
I
mean, it
agree.
was fun to read, and but I guess that's just the difficult thing that it's somewhat hard to suggest in the sense that it's like the only way you can get it is to buy like a physical copy from War Games Vault and have it shipped to you. And
Hmm.
I think in like this COVID age, like I would much rather if I was like vaguely interested in this, like if I could spend $15 and get a digital version to
Yeah.
read through and think about.
Yeah.
And then maybe later, if I was like, yeah, I would like to do this, buy a copy, like a physical thing that you could take around places.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I
But
agree.
yeah, so I would encourage people to at least read over the rule or the post and see what they think if you're at all interested in different game systems,
Hmm.
particularly ones that are good for like skirmish level narrative sort of themed games.
Yeah.
I guess I took a photo for the particular post of some of my sisters of battle against some, I don't know, inquisitorial agent type characters.
Hmm. It's cool.
That
That sort of reminds me. Eventually, I want to make like a little, maybe like a little backdrop that I can paint and use to take pictures of models and stuff with.
I mean, I feel I could, yeah, I feel I could pretty easily give you one of the tiles I have,
Hmm.
and even some of the other little wall sections. And if you wanted to paint something up or make it for things like that, you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I was just experimenting with my mirrorless camera and trying to get some somewhat atmospheric shots. Although I really should have a tripod such that is this. I was just trying to hold it steady, but the lighting that I had wasn't that good. So
Always
the
something.
yes, I couldn't really adjust the shutter speed to be like
Yeah.
ideally I would have like had the shutter speed smaller, or I don't know how the best way to say it, such that the shutter was open longer to let in more light, but then I can't hold it steady. That's not good. And I don't know, lots of
Yeah.
stuff. And I couldn't, with the lenses I had and the setup that I was using, I couldn't really get it such that the soldiers in the background were in focus.
It's sort of, I think in this case, it kind of is neat that they're not.
Yeah, and I thought that too. But I think if I would have been able to put it on a tripod, I would have been able to move it back and crop it a little differently and
Yeah.
get a similar effect, but have that. But I don't know. I'm still pretty well a novice at doing
Yeah.
getting like good photography. Like it's uh black and white to look atmospheric, but mainly just well actually admittedly all the stuff well most of the stuff is painted. the
The walls
the
aren't,
wall
right?
sections are not.
Yeah.
So because of it that I guess that was the main reason why.
Yeah. No shame in that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it is what it is. But it was using Fujifilm's Acros film simulation to simulate Fujifilm's old like actual film. Their when they
Okay,
had
yeah.
cameras with film, they had a like a essentially a black and white color profile for some of their film called Acros, and this was
Mhm.
kind of a digital simulation of that
That's cool.
with the same sort of color profiles of that. So
Yeah. Alright, so I think there's at least a little stuff we could talk about on the Warhammer community side, right?
yeah, some cool new information about Uriel Ventress.
Yeah, so like they had some post about the Black Library celebration
I think is that might be this Sunday or the
for
stuff's maybe
2021.
going up for pre-order this Sunday. Wasn't super clear to me, but if it's true that the next book in the Bequin trilogy for like the Eisenhower Avenir stuff is out. Like it might be going up for pre-order this Sunday or being released this Saturday, Sunday. If that's the case, that's cool.
That is cool.
Like that's cool enough that I would actually probably buy it and start reading it right away.
So I guess one of the things that's weird, so like I think this Uriel Ventress, who maybe he's the captain of the fourth company of the Ultramarines, so they've had novels and stuff about him for a long, long time. Like the first one was called Nightbringer. I don't even remember. It was a long time ago when it was released, and they have a ton of books. And over the years, they've had different artwork for the novels. I remember some of them, Karl Kopinski actually did the art for them. But I guess it looks like maybe they just. I think they're re-releasing all of them with like a new uniform art design. And I guess that's probably what all these covers are
And
here.
boy, howdy, is that bad looking.
They're terrible looking. Terrible.
Yeah, it's like some of the worst Black Library covers. And Black Library has a lot of bad looking cover
Like,
art.
look at this. Like the final one here. The chapters due. Like, what the fuck is happening with his right leg? Like it looks like his knee is like. Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah,
Because
it's really bad.
see something.
Nightbringer was first released in 2002. And that used to have some pretty bad looking Clint Langley artwork for the cover.
Well, so here, for instance, here's the old art for the Killing Ground, which it was done by Karl Kopinski. So like that's cool. Like he's missing like a hand or whatnot. Like it looks
Yeah,
pretty
that's a
good. That's
good
good.
good image.
And then
The new one is still missing a hand, but looks so bad. Is that right?
yeah, the new one here down in the bottom corner, like that is horrendous. Like fuck.
They're all
Like
horrible.
that's not cool. Well, then it's also weird. So the Nightbringer cover, like that picture looks very similar to the model that they made. And so there's
Mhm.
that picture, but then they also have another version of that picture, like up here, that's, I guess, better, but still looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. It still looks bad.
It very
Well, this
much
is where he
look.
becomes a Primaris Marine.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So I don't know. The covers are terrible. Like I thought they're bad. And then the model itself.
It's like Games Workshop or the Black Library don't like their IP.
Sort of does seem that way. The model itself, like, I think these are, you have maybe slightly larger pictures than we had seen before. It's pretty weird.
Certainly nothing special, and sword looks so dumb.
The sword looks bad. His head is interesting. It doesn't. Kinda looks dumb. Like, I'm glad he's not standing on, like, a rock or anything. But,
Mhm.
yeah. Don't love it. And you can get this ultramarine coin. That's cool.
So cool, and a cool bookmark
Oh, here they have a video about how to paint the model.
with
Hmm,
contrast paints, I think.
pretty cool. Yes, I don't know.
Looks bad.
The covers, the new covers to these books look awful. I think if I saw them, I would decide. Even if I thought I wanted to read novels about Ultramarines, I
Yeah,
think if
maybe.
I repeat
I,
that, Eric.
I just finished. I mean, I guess not reading, but listening to the second Siege of Terra book today.
Hmm. Okay.
Lost of the Damned. It was okay.
Hmm. That's good.
Just like the first in the Siege of Terra, it was okay. The third one is by Graham McNeil, or no, not Graham McNeil. Gab Thorpe. But to be honest, the only reason I'm really listening to them because the fourth one is by Dan Abnett. So it's just like getting through them until. But
Yeah,
I suppose like Dan Abnett's one is pretty great. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm looking forward to.
that makes sense.
I mean, I guess not that we need to talk too much about this because none of you have read them, and probably won't. But God, Angron, like Demon Primarch Angron, is in it,
Mm-hmm.
and some Karn is in it, like Karn the Betrayer Karn,
Mm-hmm.
some other World Eaters, and like just so dumb. They're just constantly just so "Ugh, scores," like constantly, and talking about how like, oh, I can't control myself, like blood. And since I'm listening to an like the audio version of it, and like it's Jonathan Keeble might be the guy who's reading it, and he does a good job. But like, God, it makes it seem even stupider than if you were just reading it, because like literally there are these characters that just is constantly just saying blood, blood, skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not characters.
Mm.
And I mean,
Yeah, it's weird.
I guess that's the point that porn has made them into nothing, but it's still kind of weird to listen to it. It's just like I didn't really have to hear that.
Also,
Kind of
yeah, I
wasted.
guess most things, if there's like actually a compelling villain and like you can relate to them, like it makes more sense and is more like, yeah, that doesn't sound
With
very
that said,
compelling.
Abaddon or Abaddon, however you say, he's kind of neat in it,
Okay.
and he's more compelling and not as. And I guess Perturabo, like the Iron Warriors Primarch,
Mm-hmm.
is a lot better because he's not doesn't want to become a demon and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess Angron is the worst offender, but even Fulgrim is kind of stupid. He c- when all the evil dudes get together with Horus, it's just a bunch of bickering back and forth, like in the most pathetic fashion, like that I would be the first on Terra. I want to get that honor. No. Blood, blood skulls. Like just so
That
dumb.
sounds great.
It's just like so dumb.
Yeah, so I don't think there was any way they could have made that cool if
No,
that's like the type
they
of
like couldn't
dialogue
have
and
made it
yeah,
cool.
that's pretty great. I love
Well,
it.
it could have been written better.
Well, that's what it
Yeah.
would have needed,
Who
yeah.
wrote it?
This one, I don't even know. The first one was John French. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
God damn it, I don't remember. Let me see here. Hard to find this. They're like on 5 books now, maybe.
Damn, that's actually pretty far. I just haven't paid any attention.
Oh, Guy Haley wrote it.
Okay.
And like most of it's been was pretty good. It wasn't, again, it was interesting, but God, yeah, just the demon Primarchs are so dumb. Like just so dumb. And
Yeah.
there's some Night Lord characters sort of leading the Night Lords.
Mm-hmm.
Ale Count, I think he goes by.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just such a sniveling, uh, cowardice, arrogant prick. That,
Yeah.
and
That
again,
sounds
that was
cool.
great, but God, is it a
Mm-hmm.
little on the nose? Not the best. Not the
Yeah, okay. I hear ya. Well, cool. Um, is there anything else on the community side we can talk about? I think they showed like a new
Another
picture.
Savage orc.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Oh wait, there's something about the Liber Xenologist, that like book.
Yeah, so
Do
I
they?
think they're all of this week are trying to show additional information about some of these books that are going to be released. And
Hmm.
it looks, well, it's hard to see. I guess maybe they talked about it on the Warhammer community like Twitch stream, but
Yeah.
I'm obviously not
Our
going to
boy
watch that.
Eli's here. Happy birthday, Eli.
Oh, hey, Eli.
Yeah, hey Eli. But yeah, I'm obviously not going to watch any of that. No, I think I would have to pay for a subscription to watch it anyway, so that's not going to happen, but
Yeah. No, that's
it's
not gonna
not going to
happen.
happen. The real question will be when Gav Thorpe and such writes about Angron, will it be the same?
Yeah, will it change or be the same? Actually, so I didn't see this, but look at this rumor engine thing from today. Like, there's this little carrion, weird looking buzzard thing. Like, he's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he looks good.
Blood.
That's the Angron I know, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
uh, okay, can we
Mm-hmm.
find. Trying to find the new pick. Well, I guess. Well, they showed another character for the Warhammer Quest game. In this case, it's like an elven archer. So we sort of knew this was good. This was gonna be one of the other characters, an archer, and it would be an
The
elf.
obligatory elf.
Yeah. Overall I like the model. Like her little quiver with arrows is cool. She has like a hunting knife or something that I feel is sized pretty well. She is leaping off a rock, which isn't great, but that's fine. Her bow isn't too over the top. Her
I
hair
feel
is
how she's
not.
leaping off the rock though. You could probably, that wouldn't be that hard to replace it with another thing, like with the terrain or the setting that you're interested in. Like it's not as difficult to work with as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think the model's cool.
I feel, to me, what was interesting about the first reveals and such, like that the witch hunter-ish vampire hunter dude in that
Mhm.
double lich or whatever, they didn't seem like they were super standard Warhammer faction stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, admittedly, witch hunters are pretty standard fare, but I don't know, for something about it didn't all just scream for me the same general rehashed IP stuff.
Mhm.
But even though this model looks good, I kind of feel it's just like, and we felt obligated to include one of every major good faction in the game. So we added Sylvian Wood Elf character, and Paradron Overlord dude will be next, and then we'll, then the Fire Slayer will come on in, and rather than making like something more interesting or something more coherent with a single band of raiders, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I am sort of worried that we saw the most interesting of the models already, but we'll see.
Caradron Overlord will almost certainly be the least interesting.
Yeah, the chances of him being cool or like next, they're almost
I feel
zero.
he could be okay, but I feel that is like they're not going to take liberties and make him more interesting looking, you know? It's gonna
Probably
be just
not.
great.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
rehash of the digital files they had,
Well,
so
so I guess the thing that me thinking about this, like I like in this model, the Blackstone Fortress Eldar like
yeah.
sniper, and this model is far superior to that sniper.
Yeah, no, that is
Like
very true.
literally everything about this is better. Her pose is better. Her weapons not nearly as over the top. One thing that is sort of weird, like why? I mean, I'd have to. It's hard to tell from this picture, but it almost looks like the arrow she's shooting is much longer than the arrows in her quiver.
That's magic. They get larger as they
Yeah, but to me, it looks like they're not the same length. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
what
I'm
happens when
wrong.
you go into the damned city.
Yeah, I guess. um, yeah. So she's like way better than that Eldar Ranger. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, they they could do a lot worse than
Way
this.
worse. Yeah. So she's pretty good.
Probably tomorrow or something they'll show the next model. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
they've been
because
doing it like once a
wait, was
week.
this? This was shown on February 11th. Okay.
Thursday.
Yeah. And so yeah, somewhere they also showed you. Oh, maybe it's here. The next Warhammer Underworlds like Direcasm warband is an orc warband, and they're savage orcs. Um, the savage orcs I feel have had kind of a long history of having a lot of really bad looking models,
They
like
have.
really bad looking models.
I
Um,
think we talked about the other one earlier, and I thought they generally look good. This one I feel doesn't look as good to me. What do you think, Adam?
um, I don't think it looks quite as good as the other one. Like they really tried to go for the over the top action pose. Um,
I
and
think the pose is good. The face looks a little wrong. I think if you put a better face on it.
I mean, I guess maybe one thing that I really dislike the big husks or whatever stuck under his skin. Like that just seems like dumb detail.
yeah,
And
it doesn't fit
also
very
kind
well.
of dislike that like a dragon scale thing. Like it's like trying to be too awesome.
Yes. But overall, I think it's good. Like some of those things, like you could pretty easily change. I do like his scenic base, like the little shards of like slate or whatever. I think they're kind of neat.
That's true.
I mean, so overall, this is a big step up for the Savage Orc models. At least all the old ones. And so I guess if we look at the... So far, they've been slowly showing new models for the different war bands. And so far, like, just about all of the war bands have looked pretty good. I don't think they've really released many at all. Like, I think they released the Chaos one, which I think is probably the weakest of all of them. The Lizardman one looks good. The vampires are all pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this other one's gonna be a bone
An
Ossiarch
Ossiarch Bone
Bone
Reaper model.
Reaper
And,
type
well,
thing.
don't know about you, but the model in the silhouette that they show here looks surprisingly cool. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the model looks a lot taller and, like, more slender than, like, most of the models in the range. So, I'm I'm cautiously optimistic for it, and there's a chance maybe when they finally show those models and release them, maybe that will be the perfect opportunity to make new, like, Bone Reaper Eldar conversions.
That's true.
Get back to that. Which I guess is something that I need to hopefully do pretty soon. Finish painting the little Eldar pirate that I converted last year. Which we keep talking about, but don't do.
Yeah.
One thing that's also interesting with the Savage Orcs here, I always look at, like, their toes, and do they have toenails or don't they have toenails? And
Kinda looks like they just don't.
like, that another thing, like, do we think, like, some orcs have, like, their, like, toes or, like, the claws sort of like their hands, or do we think no, they're different?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, here, this would suggest they're different, either that or they've broken off. Yeah, it was always something I was not sure about. I guess it doesn't matter a whole lot. If you click...
I I feel until the, like, Savage Orcs and stuff, most of the time, they just have boots or something that it's not really a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait, they have... Okay, here's the Lizardman team that we talked about. Yeah, so they're all pretty good. Um, the Crimson Court, the vampires, does this link work? Oh, it's not great, but yeah. So they might be best of the... Well, maybe the Lizardmen are better. They're all pretty good. The Ravengers, the Chaos ones, which you can actually buy right now, I think are certainly the weakest. Is there... I feel they're largely just very same-ish with most of the Chaos... The plastic Chaos Warriors you could already buy. It's just these ones... They... I don't know, they don't work together as well. They tried to make them cooler and more detailed, but I don't really think they really did. The
Yeah, no.
Sorcerer looks pretty good. She's probably the most interesting of all of them. I feel she would be a good conversion material. Just wait for
I
it, we'll see
agree.
it soon. On Instagram. Or we should, anyway. We should. Oh, damn. So they have an article on the community page talking about the flayed ones. And they have various different, like, artwork and stuff of the flayed ones. And it's interesting. Like, some of them are really spindly and creepy looking. Like, I wish the models looked like that. Look at that.
Yeah, that's good.
And then this, I guess Blanche did one that's very different. Going Blanche, yeah. It doesn't really look like a Necron.
It does not. It does not.
Um,
Yeah, that does not.
I feel these new plastic ones are by far the best that they've made. Like, it's not even a competition.
Yeah, not a competition at all. The
Thanks,
Blade
Eric, for
ones
being the
mods I
moderator this
always
stream
look terrible.
deserves.
Yes, it took me a while to figure out how to delete it.
The joys
Dumb
of
shit
Twitch
bags.
streaming. Yeah. The joys of Twitch streaming. Were they from Twitch or were they from
It
YouTube?
was in it was in Twitch.
Makes sense.
I have since banned I have banned the person and
Good.
able to figure out how to delete the comments. So that's good.
That is good.
I do like the new Flayed One models.
They're good. They're pretty good. I wonder in the codex, do you need like whole? You probably need whole squads of them, of like tons of them,
I think so.
and you can't really get them.
For kill team, you can just get one or two, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that's good, I guess. I feel the little Necron kill team kind of cool.
It's way better than the Marine one.
To get it, you'd have to suffer from getting those uh, awful Space Marines. So it's
Hmm.
kind of
Not good.
a tough thing to have to do.
Yeah, it is. Well, so I think we've largely talked about most of what we wanted to talk about tonight. Do we have anything else we want to cover or touch on, or what are people thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. Do anyone in the chat have any questions on our thoughts on anything?
While we wait for any potential comments, we'll stay on this picture, this flayed one here. Pretty cool. The art is actually pretty good. It's much more interesting than some of the other stuff.
Maybe he's actually a Night Lord.
He might be a Night Lord. Kinda looks like
cooler than
one.
most Night Lords.
Dude, like,
There's almost no good Night Lord models, right? Other than maybe Conrad Kurz.
he's the best. Sevatar or
Avatar's
whatever,
okay.
he's pretty good too, but it's weakened by the fact that he has the like stumpy bad space marine proportions, but um in general he's pretty good. But like essentially all of the Forge World models are awful. Some of the worst in the Forge World catalog, I think.
They released any new models recently, Forge World?
Um I don't actually know. We can look.
Oh, it looks like they released those shitty Night Lord Terminators, but they released some of those that like one undead dwarf special
Yeah,
character.
the Blood Bowl characters, they're kind of cool. I was sort of hoping that they would be plastic models, but I guess
Yeah,
that
I have to admit when you learn that they're those models are just resin. I mean, I guess it's Forge World, so in some sense, what do you expect? But still, once you learn that that's what they are, I feel it makes it, a lot harder to be that excited about it.
I agree. Though I will
So
say, some of the more recent, we got some Forge World casts recently. Some of them were quite good. I guess Lionel Johnson was quite bad, but the rest were pretty good.
Well, at least he only costs like $150.
oh yeah, actually, you have that model, Adam. Did you ever look at it?
Yes, I got it out, and I actually did some trimming and stuff on the model, but
We could show that briefly.
we could.
But so unsupervised darkness. Yeah, we did talk a little bit about F28 since I finally got up a post about it, kind of a review about it online, which took me a while. We got some copies of the rules a little while back, and the initial hope was that we would read through it and then play some games, but COVID has made that harder. And then it eventually got to the point like I would just like to finally write something. Maybe we can still play some stuff in the future, but overall, I think this system seems pretty fun and would be easy to sort of learn and adapt to games that you might play with new people for like Ink 28 or other types of events. Uh, Unfortunately, though, there's not a good way to access the rules other than buying the physical copies. And there aren't that many reviews of it either. So, like, I feel there's very little information or
Hmm.
easily obtainable information about the game or the system. And with that in mind, I feel it's sort of a hard sell to just decide to randomly, like, oh, I'm going to spend $50 to get these two books and know nothing about them. I don't know what they look like inside or
Yeah.
anything like that. And
And then
interestingly,
if you
they don't.
do, you open them up and feel like you've been swindled by
Yeah,
seeing
because
the
when you
quality
open them
of
up,
the
they don't
images
look good
inside.
inside. In particular, they're also, this is sort of like a second printing. I think they had initially had the rule books printed, but then, like in Sweden,
Hmm.
but to get it a little bit more widespread, they added it to War Games Vault, and I think that's sort of like uh, works like a print on demand thing.
Yeah.
So the printing quality is fine, but it's nothing that you'd be like, wow, this is nice.
Well, I mean, you can see even in like these pictures, like you can see through the pages.
Yeah. And the layout of the stuff is okay. Like it's kind of nice and streamlined, but the artwork is like not impressive. It's like just like little sketches, doodles, or something you do on a piece of scrap paper that they like scanned in on a fax machine or something.
Stuff that you probably would never want to show anyone. So, like, I feel
Yeah,
it's the
I
type of
think
thing. My thought on the matter is so, like, I went on War Game Vault and purchased the rule set, purchased the original book because I had heard some about the game from the 28 magazine doing some of the editing for that, and it had been on my radar for a while. So I purchased the book, and I feel it's the type of thing you buy it, not really sure what it's gonna be, and then if as soon as you'd get it, you'd flip through it and look like, oh man, like wow, look at those illustrations. I feel it's a huge turnoff that it that itself might deter you from even reading the rules, which isn't
Yeah.
good. Um,
I think a
but
PDF is not available for for downloading because he's afraid that people will see it, see how shitty the art is, and be like, "Nope,
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is, I feel, of quite the shame because I think the rule system is pretty nice.
yeah, it is
And
interesting, easy to learn, but it has a activation system. Like whenever a player activates the models, opponents kind of have the opportunity to also like react to that if like someone moves their line of sight or
mhm.
things like that, which I think is interesting. And in general, everything just hits on a 4+ on a six-sided die. It can be modified and such, but it's streamlined in a way that I think you could start easily playing stuff without being too overly concerned with. But yeah, when you open it up and see like here's a diagram of the phases in a turn, and it looks like someone scribbled it out on a napkin, like like they look like placeholder images.
Mhm.
But like we'll get back to this, not like you spent $30 to get this. And I feel if I were doing this, I would have wanted to like at least
Because
make something in PowerPoint or something
yeah.
because the little smiley faces are kind of charming, but not in a formal thing like this that most people would have only seen the covers, which the covers look kind of cool.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, I
good.
like the covers. They're good.
So yeah, I think in I mentioned it in the review, but I think it would be a great thing like that they could release a PDF of just the really, really core rules, like 5 pages
Mhm.
for free, just to get people like to get a sense of what the system is and to get excited and try to make up their own faction rules or start pushing around some models and rolling dice. And then at that point, maybe if you thought it was neat, then you might be more inclined to buy it. Or I mentioned that it would be, I think they could easily do like a Kickstarter or something, give a portion of the rules out for free, and then say, like, but we're using this Kickstarter to hire some artists, such to, and get it printed better and things like that. And I think that would help substantially. Maybe edit it a little bit more, change around how
Mhm.
some of the stuff is presented in it. And I think they could get a more uh, sellable product.
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately, aside from just the very core rules, I mean, even in the main book itself, like there is a ton of like additional content and stuff to like really like help you develop like different scenarios or like weapons or like all sorts of stuff that like I think sort of
Would
if
be,
people yeah that could be useful and if people like knew about all of that like that people might be excited about it. But as
but
it
the
is,
game, it does have its own like setting, but it seems a little bit like this is just an example of a setting you could have
mhm,
and use them to modify it to your heart's content. It's sort of like a semi post apocalyptic Judge Dredd sort of mega city
yeah,
dystopian thing with some Lovecraftian horrors coming from the ocean. But there are a bunch of factions with special rules and different unit types and such that you could easily just use it to modify the stuff slightly to try to get a basic profiles for 40K stuff or whatever. But so
yeah,
yeah, ultimately, and if you read the review, it talks a little bit more how the system works and how I think overall it seems like something that could be fun to use, and I wouldn't mind playing some games with it. But
yeah. And I think it could be sort of like some of the elements of it could be like incorporated into lots of different events. So I sort of feel like, say if and when we ever have like an event or something, probably the rule system would be like an amalgamation of a lot of different systems and such, taking different pieces of things we think work well, etc. So yeah, I think the rule set is certainly something to look into.
Oh, there's actually a Facebook group like for it, and talking in that and such, it looks like the author and stuff has been considering making like an F28 light type thing, like a
Okay,
PDF release or something. So it seems like they're considering doing some of the stuff that we suggested. So hopefully that's true, because
that would help a lot.
that I think they could get a lot more people interested in it.
Yeah, they
I was
could.
just thinking about what's Nick Evans' game called?
Planet 28?
Oh yeah, like that. The fact that you know how he even did a Kickstarter, you'd
Mm-hmm.
maybe download it for pay what you want or whatever, but just the fact that you could easily get it and it had some kind of atmospheric, neat looking art, I think
Well, that
helped
went
a
a long
lot get
way.
people wanting to give it a try,
Yeah.
regardless of how the rules and the system was.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think this more time was spent on the rules,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's sort of hidden away from people such that people would never learn about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that I agree. But yeah, so I think it is worth for like viewers and stuff. It's certainly worth looking into, particularly if you're interested in like different unique rule sets and such.
But
And
ultimately, I would just wait until they release a PDF of it.
no, yeah, that's probably the
The ultimate
safest thing to
takeaway.
do. Yeah.
When there are like so many different rule sets, Planet 28, Anna from Gardens of Hakate has the fabulous system. Like they're just a ton.
Yeah, there are.
Maybe we can call this a stream because boy,
Yeah,
Yeah.
am I
I think
tired.
so.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight, asking questions and such, and listening to us ramble on about all manner of things.
Hmm.
Um, I guess keep safe, stay healthy, keep enjoying the hobby, and we will talk to you all soon.
Yep. See you,
Yeah.
everybody.
See
Over and
ya.
out.